Necesitamos estampillas.
You are now tuned in to your number one radio station.
Violent people.
Radio.
Welcome to Violent People Radio, episode 25. I'm your host, Chris, joined as always by my good friend, Dan Rice.
How's it going?
And also Pat.
Hey, what's up?
And also Sam.
Hello.
And it's the election night extravaganza, and we'll be reading the ballots, we'll be counting the ballots live while we record this. I hope everyone's got their counting hats on while we record. Everyone's got their counting hats, right?
No, I've been eyeballing it. Should I be counting these like one at a time?
However you choose.
Okay.
I've been
That's
doing
what's
it.
great about democracy.
Yeah, I've just been weighing handfuls of ballots.
Yeah, that works too.
All right.
It's dealer's choice, really.
It doesn't actually give me any results as to who. It just tells me like, okay, this is like 12 grams of ballots.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if I'm doxing you. You work for the post office. How many ballots have you burned?
You know, it's against federal law for me to tell you how many,
Okay.
but it's a lot.
Good.
Well, thank you for your service.
I do my best. I mean, they hired me to work in the ballot shredding department. I just want to do right by them.
I mean, they hired you for a reason. They saw something in you.
They saw I am a craven coward, no morals or ethics.
And that's what we love in the government.
Exactly.
And craven cowards with no morals is also what we love in wrestling.
Yeah.
So Pat, have you been watching any wrestling?
I've watched more wrestling than I should have this week. Should I jump right into Devil's Night?
You gotta.
You should.
Show of JCW. So JCW, they did the week-long Train of Terror tour going live on YouTube every single night. And that culminated in their Triller debut on October 30th, JCW Devil's Night. And I gotta say, the show was dog shit. Bad. It had numerous production problems to the point where every time they showed a replay of something, they were showing the footage in slow motion, but they weren't removing the audio from it. So the announcers were continuing to talk in real time over slowed down audio from like 30 seconds. There were a whole bunch of snafus, but we can get into that line by line.
What's great about
show.
What's great about that is they did like 7 or 8 shows in a row to prepare for this.
Yeah, were the YouTube shows like?
I didn't notice any.
I mean, were they
glaring production flaws?
Shows?
No, they were fully produced shows, and I didn't notice any real issues.
Okay, well, because the announcer on this was a guy called the Ringmaster, and he sounded like one of the teachers from Peanuts. The audio quality, just in general, was bad. I had to go back and rewind a bunch of times to figure out the names of the women in the Battle Royal, and even then, it kind of was a process of like, okay, I got one of their names. Now I'm going to plug that name into Cage Match and see, like, okay, I got the first name Pepper. How many Peppers are there?
Pepper Parks?
It was not
Pepper
Pepper. Pepper
Parks.
Parks did not compete for the women's title in JCW. Sadly,
Okay.
that would have been. So the show opens with Mecha Wolf doing a promo. He's got great Muda face paint. He just says some stuff, and then we're off to the races with the Richie boy Briar Wellington over Dave Christ.
Wait, is that real?
And this is another funny thing about the show. An hour before it started. No, that's real. That's a real.
Wait, Dave?
thing.
Dave
Are you sure?
Chris?
You sure not Jake?
With the blonde Chris.
Oh, okay. I thought Dave Chris made his return. I was like, that's awesome.
Oh, okay. Then I just wrote down Chris.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
But he was announced on the info thing on Triller before the show. It was Briar Wellington versus the Wraith. So the info thing on Triller in running down the card also spoiled all of the surprises in the show. So then we had Congo Kong over Luigi Primo, the pizza guy. And immediately after the match, they cut to a Caleb Conley promo of him walking around and talking shit about Matt Riddle. And while they are airing the Caleb Conley video, they mistimed it completely. So Joey Janela runs out and attacks Luigi Primo during the Caleb Conley video. So we don't see any of it. We just, they cut back to the ring and Joey Janela is standing there and he's doing his new gimmick, Florida Man Joey Janela. And he just does a heel promo for about an hour. It culminates in him just yelling "fuck you" at the fans about 100 times. And then we go from that to the Hall of Fame ceremony. The first Hall of Fame for JCW, Mickey Knuckles, Too Tough Tony, and the late great Tracy Smothers. So I gotta say, they're killing it.
That's a great lineup. Yeah, I can't argue with that.
That's better than
I mean,
ours.
we have to step our shit up.
Standing in the
And
Hall of
the
Fame.
voters. Speaking of the next Hall of Fame class, you voters need to get your fucking shit. I'm not fucking around. And then we see, immediately after Too Tough Tony accepts his Hall of Fame award, we cut to a pre-tape thing where Too Tough Tony is at the bar, buying a beer for some mystery person. Except, while the conversation lasts about 20 seconds, and I think Too Tough Tony buys him 3 beers in that span. Then we get the scramble match, which is, I wrote it down on another, this is my Dave Meltzer moment, I wrote it down on another sheet of paper. The scramble match is Facade versus Simon Gotch versus Mosh Pit Mike, in character as Coach Mike, versus Tarzan Duran versus Soul Taker, and it was supposed to be versus Yellow Cane, but they announced that Yellow Cane couldn't be there, so out comes a guy in a white cane costume named Cocaine. This match went on for a while, and it ended with Cocaine getting a thing of powder, slamming it into his own face, hulking up, chokeslams Soul Taker, gets the pin. Following that, we get a pre-tape skit with the Southern Six making fun of Too Tough Tony, calling him an alcoholic and this and that. And then James Storm wanders in late, and there's just kind of a weird, awkward tension with them. Then we get Silas Mason and Alex Taylor versus Too Tough Tony. Too Tough Tony doesn't have a partner. He's still going to fight them anyway. Halfway through the match, who should show up but James Storm? And he turns on the Southern Six, super kicks Silas Mason. Too Tough Tony gets the flaming punch. That's it. The Women's Battle Royal, the only noteworthy thing about it is that Danny Moe won, and then the announcer called it as Mickey Knuckles. And then the announcer had to get on the mic live and be like, I'm sorry, I said the wrong name. Then we get Baba Thunder over 7-foot-tall Painful Paul.
Oh, how was this?
Battle of the Giants. This was fun. This was, I mean, I don't know if it was a good match, but it was a fun. And this show really needed more stuff like this. I found myself going like, there's so much on the show that I could see from any fucking indie ever, especially in the second half. But the Baba Thunder versus 7-foot-tall Painful Paul thing where they're trying to like choke slam each other at the same time, stuff like where it's a huge deal where Baba Thunder gets on the second rope to do a splash. That is the kind of freak show, almost tongue-in-cheek indie wrestling that I wanted. And this was followed by Backseat Boys versus Bang and Matthews. And I guess Bang and Matthews won the tag titles at some point during the Train of Terror tour. And their new gimmick in JCW is that they are evil Christian altar boys. Even though, you know, you would think August Matthews, he's got those kind of built-in gimmicks already, like a skeleton or a chemotherapy patient. But they went with altar boys. So the Backseat Boys win the titles back, but then immediately afterwards, and again kind of ineptly framed by the production team, Johnny Cashmere puts on a robe and betrays them. Turns out that Johnny Cashmere is a born-again Christian. And he cuts an absolutely insane promo talking about how the Backseat Boys are going to suffer for sins of everyone in the audience who likes looking at pictures of assholes and who likes posting pictures of their own buttholes online.
Okay.
Cashmere has no idea where this promo... He's clearly making it up as he goes along. He has no idea what he's talking about until finally Too Tough Tony says. And genuinely insane promo, highlight of the night. Johnny Cashmere, strong contender for Hall of Fame.
I can get on board with that.
This was followed by Nick Nemeth, Kerry Morton in a 10 million year Iron Man match, according to my notes. This just went on for, like, you could see this match any
Was it actually an Iron Man match?
No, it was just... but it ends with Nick Nemeth over Kerry Morton. Zigzag. Silas Mason and Alex Taylor come out to attack Nemeth, and who should come out but JBL?
Oh my god.
And the Southern Six, they're so happy to see JBL. They're like, you know, a good old boy like us, you know, help us kill Nick Nemeth for some reason.
Southern Six do not have access to the internet. They don't know what JBL has been up to.
But JBL, he clotheslines the shit out of the Southern Six. And then he walks Nick Nemeth. The JCW American title, Caleb Conley defends over Matt Riddle after a ref bump and a low blow. I gotta say, this is the first time I've noticed Matt Riddle's new tattoos. And he needs someone who can, like, physically stop going to the tattoo. He has, really high up on one hip, he's got a garter, pistol tucked into it. And then you can see past his trunks, one of his butt cheeks completely covered.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely insane decisions. This match also went on forever, and see it on, like, your local anywhere that, you know, dumb enough to pay for. Main event, JCW World Title, 3-way elimination match, Mecha Wolf versus Matt Cross versus Willie Mack. So what happens is Matt Cross, he does the lethal injection to eliminate Mecha Wolf, and then they play Matt Cross's music, and everyone kind of looks confused, like, is the match over? You know. And the announcers try to cover for it by saying, oh, well, now they get a brief rest period after the first elimination. And then, wouldn't you know it, Willie Mack hits a stunner, pins Matt Cross, new champ. And then the show goes off the air, and I'm left wishing that it was more like JCW.
Now, I'm going to ask some questions as if this is your fault. But in the 10 episodes we had of the season 1 of Lunacy, was it 10 or 11? How many were there? Doesn't really matter, but like some of the stories we got were James Storm turning from babyface to heel to join the Southern Six, and Matt Cross repeatedly trying to beat Willie Mack for the title. And on their first real pay-per-view, big show, whatever, they turn James Storm back to a babyface and get the title back on Willie Mack.
I'm not sure James Storm, I think he was pretending to be face to start. He only really came out like, yeah, I'll be your partner. Didn't really do anything otherwise. But yes, you are correct.
They were right back to Willie Mack as champion.
Yes, it's almost as if they feel more confident they can get Willie Mack.
That's fair. Not that is Matt Cross hard to get?
No, but I mean, if you have to pay someone $20 versus $30.
Yeah, and then Bang and Matthews, you have the 7 or 8 show Train of Terror. You're like, let's wait till our big preview to debut them as like the Altar Boys or whatever they are now. That's very funny to me.
Yeah, I have no that was such a 2000 indie.
Like literally.
Yeah, and honestly, the show was really bad, but I feel like it needed to be more of a 1999 2000 indie show. I went back and watched old JCW to be like, okay, am I just looking at it through rose-colored glasses? And, well, one, I made the mistake of watching the main event of JCW Volume 2, which is like the most homophobic commentary track ever put to audio, which is ICP and Evil Dead versus Big Flame, Bob, and Neil. And they're saying a lot of slurs. Even by the standards of 1999, they are saying a lot of slurs. But the show had a sense of humor that the ICP JCW Devil's Night lacked. It was trying too hard to be a serious big time wrestling show. It just.
What's also funny is I'm now seeing that show took place on the 30th, and on the 31st on Halloween, they just went right back to having a house show that they put on YouTube for free.
That they put on YouTube.
Yeah, because I'm into this
They
Baba Thunder.
didn't even put it on Triller. They put it on YouTube.
Yeah, right. Even though they did a big announcement saying that Thriller's the new home of JCW, but apparently not. But Baba Thunder and the Backseat Boys versus Painful Paul and the Altar Boys. I got that circled. Oh, and then Mickey Knuckles versus Mikey Knuckles. Mosh Pit Mike.
See, that's the sort of shit that should have been on this show.
Yeah, they did too much of trying to be every other indie people don't watch on Triller.
Yeah, and that's. I don't want to see every other. I want to see Gonzo car crash nonsense. Which, speaking of, I also watched the debut show of John Wayne Murdoch's promotion, Pacific North Death. I'm not going to run down the entire show, but people should seek out the Ghouls Realm match of Sonico versus Tara Zepp, where I'm pretty sure Sonico is one of the people who trains Tara Zepp. She reminds me a lot of Attitude Era Lita, where there was enthusiasm, but there was no actual capability to pull anything off. Because at times, you can see him on camera walking her through the match as it's happening, and at times having to manhandle her into position to take a move correctly. But that makes it feel so much like I'm watching old CZW, where they sent out one guy who's kind of trained and one guy who trained at all, and just said all right, do some cool shit. And the other match to seek out from it is Reed Bentley versus Dr. Redacted, where they just went out and had fun. They did Raven's drop toe hold into the chair, but Dr. Redacted was holding a pizza while taking the move. Reed Bentley was using children from the audience as weapons. It was that kind of stuff where it's 20 minutes of just bonkers nonsense and them kind of doing whatever came to mind, even if it didn't make sense. At one point, Bentley puts a trash can over Redacted and then gives him a Saito suplex into a pane of glass. And it's kind of like, well, wouldn't the trash can protect him from the glass?
I like that you asked any of us if we had checked this show out. I thought that was fun. None of us had.
You never know what
You're
you guys
insane.
What?
You're just absolutely bonkers for watching any of this shit. What are you doing? What are we doing here?
I'm creating content.
Man, is it worth it?
To be fair, what was the match that you warned us that you were going to talk about, Sam?
Oh, it's a very important match. Probably the best match GC.
One I also watched.
Whole year is Bobby Flacco versus Juicy for now. Now, let's get right to the good stuff. Not to jump over everything that you wanted to discuss. But
I'm good. Let's fucking talk Juicy and Bobby.
anyone else watch this match?
No.
Absolutely
Besides
not.
us two? What do you mean absolutely not?
I can't imagine willingly putting on GCW, much less that match.
This
What do
was
you-
the GCW Halloween show.
Yeah, so I could have watched Seco Play and Arez, or I don't know, wasn't Super Crazy on that show?
Yeah, it was Mike Bailey. versus
Ugh,
Super-
never mind.
Do you have something against Juicy for now? A top 10 US indie wrestler?
Top 10 US indie worker. Just saying
Remember,
stuff super early in the show this time.
If you say anything bad about Juicy for now, you are attacking a person.
Oh my god. Is he?
Dan, what was that?
I think he's probably top 8.
Top 8. Okay, I can buy it.
Can I ask, have you watched 8 Juicy matches from 2024? I know the answer is no, but I just wanted to...
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've watched now 4.
Okay, alright.
And they all happened in the past 24 hours.
You've watched 4 in 24 hours? I get into this for me. Break this down for me.
Did
It's
you
been
watch
7
Punjabi
minutes.
Prison?
What was that?
Did you watch the Punjabi Prison with him?
No,
Where they
I did
subbed
not.
him in? They subbed him in for Jacob Fatu, and he censors the match.
Is censored a redacted word, or just that is what he did?
Centers.
Censor, as in he was,
Oh,
as in
I was
he
like,
was
I
the
don't-
center of gravity for the match.
I love that. I love that. Juicy's great. Juicy's big. He's huge. I could never tell you, hey, X promotions should sign him to be on TV every week, because I think his body would fail immediately. But this match is blissful. 7 minutes, and he's just a perfect monster against Bobby Flacco, who I think is underrated generally as kind of a spark plug flyer. Yeah, match whips so much ass. Like, they do not do... There's not a lot of momentum shifts in this thing, even though... I don't know, I always expect that to be the case in pretty much all wrestling these days, is that, everything is going to just shift momentum every 25 seconds until we're done and dead.
Especially in GCW, where they do a lot of like, okay, you do your shit, now I do my shit, now you do your shit, now I do my shit.
Yeah. And like, no one's allowed to be weak, essentially. Like, everyone has to be the same. This is GCW, the parody league. But man, this match it rips. Everyone should watch it.
It's worth noting too. This takes place in front of 20 people, 10 of whom are in Halloween costumes.
Where did this take place? I forget.
It was somewhere in California. It was at Primal Pro Wrestling's like training center. So
Yeah,
the hard cam is facing a wall that they put up like a 2-foot by 3-foot GCW flag on.
Why the hell is Bobby Flacco being flown to the show? And then subsequently also flown to Hawaii for the GCW Hawaii Mania show.
I had to see that show.
Can you imagine holding these shows without Bobby Flacco?
I am just realizing that Bobby Flacco is indeed a GCW regular, a thing I was not aware of until I just opened up Cage Match. And like,
Yeah, he's like one of their job squad guys.
he's on every fucking show. He was on a 2-match winning streak before he lost to Juicy. Can't stop him. He was on a roll until he hit Juicy.
Did you watch the match from before that?
From the show?
From the GCW show?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
I will.
It was
See. What was that?
Brooke Havoc in cosplay as Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Vipress in cosplay as The Undertaker, and they managed to screw up wrestling moves in ways I have never witnessed. They tried to do Adam Cole's fucking Panama Sunrise thing, and they both just fall over.
If Sam messaged me that he was watching Brooke Havoc versus Vipress, I would call the police. I would know that was some sort of code.
I think it can be enjoyed on a deeply misogynistic level, so I have no trouble recommending it to my co-host.
Is there some, like, how are they going to Hawaii? Can someone explain it to me? No, why do they have so much money? Why is Too Tough Tony?
Yeah, that Triller money.
Caleb Conley. Actually, basically, like, the GCW, the Devil's Night squad got together and they flew to Hawaii together. Matt Cross is here. They brought Rain out of retirement to wrestle Joey Janela for some reason.
If you're trying to apply logic, sense, or to like anything GCW does, you're just going to come up short.
Like, does Rain live in Hawaii now? How are you, like... Hey, you haven't wrestled for 5 years. And before that, I think it was 5 more years.
She's a travel agent.
They all are. And that was misogynistic.
Jesus Christ.
My whole Facebook page is every girl I went to high school with telling me that I need to book my travel through them.
And do you?
No.
Okay, maybe that's a you problem.
Yeah. Chris, did you watch any good wrestling?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. No one else did, apparently.
I watched.
Wait, what's going on here?
Are you still going to talk about more Juicy?
Okay, so just one other match.
Okay.
Which is funny because we were supposed to watch 3.
Yeah, I actually do have to talk about all 3 matches.
Do them. Do it.
But also, you don't need to watch this match other than respecting Juicy. But Dave Dutra and Wise Guy versus the Pacific Savages of Journey Fatu and Juicy for now. Journey Fatu, not a good wrestler. Juicy's carrying his ass. Dave Dutra, longtime Cali guy, I think. I don't know where the show takes place. I don't believe California for some reason. Wise Guy, funniest name for what is just a kind of a ripped, generic 5'8" guy. Juicy rocks during this match. No one else really does. I respect that. But because I lost what was the draft that we were doing? Oh, the Evolve draft. Because no one respects the actual Evolve.
First, Violent J does. He booked Matt Riddle versus Caleb Conley.
That's so true. That's so true. If he doesn't bill Caleb Conley as being from the Premier Athlete brand, he actually still does not respect it. Oh man, Larry Dallas in JCW? Is that a match made in heaven or what? Good God, get it hooked up. What are we doing here? Anyway, the mat from Pat was Justice Pain versus Insane Dragon from JAPW, September 18th, 2004. This match whips
Oh, it fucking rules.
ass.
Yeah, I watched that match and I'm like, I just want an excuse to talk about the show. So fucking.
Oh man, like, isn't he with the craziest pop-up NZ? Like a millisecond into this match, it's just like, oh yeah, that's the good shit. You know that this is going to be pure cocaine goodness. And Justice Pain rocks.
Yeah, he has no regard.
And nor should he, quite frankly. Nor should
That's
he.
fair.
I love his Alabama slam on Izzy. Just looks like he's going to kill him. Major respect for that. I love how the actual like initial Izzy had his fun. He had his minute or two of offense to start the match. And then Justice Payne, like he's a fucking O-lineman, hitting a drill during practice, just blasting the shit out of him out of midair. And it's just like, oh, yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Protect the QB. No, this match is wild. I love it. Love hitting a couple of pain thrillers to seal the deal. Yeah, so you just picked the match because it whipped, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you have anything else you want to say about this match?
Just that I love the part where they're just chucking Izzy around ringside.
Yeah.
Just, I wish more shows had that kind of energy. Like, I find that so lacking in wrestling in general today. I mean, obviously AEW is not going to have, like, I don't know who their Justice Payne there is. They're not going to have something like that where, like, Roosh is just whipping Commander around at ringside and, like, not caring if fans are in the way. Even, I mean, as I recall, there were some pretty bizarre botches during it, and it still did not take away from the energy. And it's just the kind of match that I wish wrestling had. We lost something in the last one.
We used to be a culture, a society, a people. We lost ourselves along the way. Then, Dan, I do want to know why you selected this match.
I'll tell you exactly what happened. Is I watched
June 12th, JPW, Low-Key and Trent Acid versus Sanjay Dutt and Teddy Hart.
I went into this wanting to punish you, but then Pat recommended that Austin match, and so I was like, I want to watch more JAPW, but I also always want to watch Low-Key. So I literally just went to Cage Match and was scrolling through Low-Key's JAPW matches, and I was like, I want to watch this. Sam has to watch it too.
Did you? So you did not actually watch it?
Before recommending it? No. I would still recommend it.
I would not. Not at all.
Not at all?
This match is not... No, I didn't think this match was fun at all. Not good. Didn't enjoy it. This takes place at, I don't know, high school baseball field. I don't know what I was expecting from baseball. I at least thought minor league. But I think that is generous to what we have here.
Well, my favorite part of it is there's bleachers, but they have the bleachers put up. So they're just making all 40 people that are there stand the whole show.
That rocks.
Yeah, that's cool.
Really.
Because they got to the field, and the field manager was like, you're not touching the bleachers.
It's like, you did not pay for me to actually do shit here.
You rented the field, not the bleachers.
Correct. Oh, man. No, I didn't enjoy this. It felt like very house show indie performance. No one, even like Low-Key, didn't really stand out in any meaningful way here.
See, what's funny about that is I think I would describe it the exact same way, as it feels like these four guys going through a house show match, but that still rules enough for me. Like, it's not gonna, like, I'm not gonna watch it again, it's not gonna change anyone's, mind about anybody, but I watch Low-Key stiff people and some stupid, poison ranas and shit.
Dan, good for you, man.
Yeah, that's
good for you.
That's what I'm after.
So no, this match did not feel like punishment, more so than it felt like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Rip to me.
I had almost recommended to you Trent Acid versus Crowbar from some like 2003 indie show, but it was like long.
I don't like that.
It was over 20 minutes long because Trent Acid spent.
I was gonna say a lot of Trent Acid matches are very long, but there's not a lot of wrestling.
But it was all stalling. It was just all him, like rolling out of the ring and like, jaw jacking with fans, and cutting mid-match promos even though nothing had happened.
No, if you're looking for Trent Acid on YouTube, there's a lot of times you'll see the files 30 minutes long, and you'll click, and the wrestling starts at minute 17.
Yeah. Even though the bell rang.
Oh, yeah. He's got shit to do. He knows half the people in the audience.
Well, new. Best.
That's fair.
I'm just glad he's not alive to see what wrestling.
He's not alive for that Johnny Cashmere promo.
He's not. Johnny Cashmere became a born-again Christian. Oh, man. So what did Chris force you to watch at gunpoint?
Chris forced me to... Well, you know what? This was a nice little treat, I would say. Big Show versus Randy Orton from Survivor Series 2013.
That's a nice little treat.
I thought so. I thought it was a little treat.
Nice.
I didn't think there was anything wrong with this match. This is a pleasant little breeze.
So,
I'm garbage Dan trying to pedal.
I was at this show. It
Yes.
only clicked just now. I was in the audience.
You were there. You gotta witness greatness.
It's the only time I've ever seen CM Punk wrestle.
Really? I'm trying to think about
Every other
wrestle.
It was him and Daniel Bryan versus Rowan and Harper. But yeah, this was also the show with the Total Divas versus non-Total Divas match that won like worst match of the decade or something from Wrestling Observer.
I think this match is good. I don't think there's any like. I don't know. It's great. I think Randy is kind of a nice little shithead during this match. Big Show is Big Show. Love that. When did the KO punch become a thing for him? Like, does anyone know when that? Like, oh, he's a giant man. Maybe we'll just let.
Was it around the Mayweather stuff? Did he do it back then?
I feel like that's when it really got played up.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, that means he was doing it for a long time.
But this is years after that.
Well, they had always kind of like hyped up. He's got like the fists like typewriters, say, and they would do stunts where I remember there was one time where they had him like punch a hole in a gimmicked chair, stuff like. And then I think with the Mayweather stuff, really leaned into the fact that it's like he's big, he can hit you really hard. And I think by 2013, where he was kind of like the crying stooge, the administration, where he was like weeping over all the evil things he had to do. I think it was just his body was breaking down so much that it was just like, okay, just punch guys, like don't even risk your shoulders picking them up for a joke.
Yeah, because like Silk Sam out of vogue. He does hit it during this match, but it's not the move.
One of the things I remember the most from the show is how vigorously the crowd booed when the show fell off. I don't know if that came through in the broadcast version. They tried to do the Orton draping DDT.
Crowd got pissed.
Yeah. People were just like, they were kind of half asleep for most of the match, and then that happened, and everyone just fucked.
It would have been sick. But crowd just let him have it. And I'm like, you know what? What did you want? Well, actually, I know what you want. What you're expecting?
Yeah, we wanted a DDT.
Were you really expecting Big Show to take the top rope draping DDT? If you did, that's on you. You big dum-dums. Get it together.
We had just sat through a 20-minute John Cena versus Alberto. Cut us some.
This match is fun. I don't know. This is just a nice cat and mouse match. And Randy is a shockingly good mouse. Chris, why the hell did you pick this match?
I don't know. I was just looking at Big Show matches that were
Cool.
It's got a
Rated
2.24. Yeah, that's why you picked it.
Wow, that's disrespectful. You know what? Those fucking, that's what I would expect.
I know I should not have trusted them to know what a bad Big Show match is.
Plus, it's only 11 minutes. If you're really you got to give him an 18, 19 minute match. Yeah, if you're trying to screw him
Yeah, I
over.
was really trying to find like a 19. That was like the longest really poorly rated Big Show match I could find. Most of them were like Kane matches that went like 7 minutes. Which probably were worse.
Kind of worth it at that point.
But they probably would be worse, because Kane is a worse worker than Randy Orton.
True. And Kane's just not fun to watch. That dynamic is not interesting. Not an interesting.
I did.
Didn't they do some
one of the matches
mat
I
wrestling or
considered for
something?
this was
Who?
Did Kane and Big Show, don't they have a match where they're looking real stupid doing mat wrestling? And I don't know, I feel like Bix loves it or something.
Does he say, oh yeah, that goes back to when King was in Battle Arts?
Probably.
Bix does
all
love
the
Kane.
USPW Spellbinder shoot wrestling, Unabomb or whatever. But I had considered as an actual punishment match, Big Show versus Kane from, I think it was King of the Ring 1990, where they do a choking spot that goes on so long that it's like, okay, be dead. Because I think they were both waiting for like a signal from the ref that never came, so kept doing the choking spot.
Oh, see, that match, that's only 6 minutes. Your punishment match...
That's very cool. I love that. They should.
I mean, yeah, it was like a 6-minute match, and like 3 minutes of it was like they were in the corner choking each other.
And that sounds like a little hot. But there's a really low-rated big cast match, but I bet that might rule. You never know with these cage match people.
You never know. Anyway, also go out of your way to watch AJ Gray versus Chris Carter in a dog collar match from SVN.
AJ Gray versus
AJ
who?
Gray, he's back. What was it?
AJ Gray against who? I missed it.
Chris Carter.
Okay.
Chris Carter looks like he does meth.
Well,
It's good.
I like that.
Yeah.
I know. So, there you go.
Okay, I'm seeing.
AJ Gray,
Let's
top
do it.
10 US indie wrestler? We got a couple of them now.
Yeah,
we
we'll
got a couple of them
keep
now.
track of this list. Juicy and AJ Gray.
I know, everyone, buying people radio, always good about lists and numbers and so on and so forth.
Okay.
I just can't say like top two. It's like as long as Adam Priest is there, I'll always be. Well, it's not bad Adam Priest. Who else is there at this point?
Microman.
Is it possible to see any of these Jericho Cruise matches? Do they exist? Because there's one where Big Show teams up with Chris Jericho and Mike Bailey. That'd be like a fun match to make somebody watch.
I would love it if he just threw them both overboard. That's the finish. He's just like, fuck you guys.
So is that all the wrestling you watched?
AJ Gray, Juicy Finau, both better than LeBron and Cozone. Heard it here first.
So violent people guarantee people.
Violent people guarantee. That is. There's a couple of Fuchi matches, but I feel like CML Trios matches are not necessarily a blast to talk about.
All right, Chris.
All right,
what
Dan.
Oh, me? Okay. I didn't watch like any wrestling. I'm gonna be honest. I watched because I've been sick like this whole week. I watched. A little bit of what is it? The Lehigh, the LVAC Steel Sack SmackDown 3. The Lost Boys versus the Colony. And I like the Lost Boys. I think they are fun in like these like 6-man tag team bullshit because they make like the Electro Ant, Ultimo Ant, Worker Ant. These aren't the best workers to ever have been in the Colony costumes, and they're all a little older than they were when they first came on the scene, and Boss Boys bump around for him. It's really fun. And then I watched the 12-man tag main event, which is Gulak, Williams, Cheeseburger, Dan Champion, Willie Yuta versus and Clara Carreras versus Delirious, Batiri, Frightmare, Hollow Wicked, and Ultraman Black. And this was much less fun. Like, I was excited by this, but it was just it's very long. It's 17 minutes, and it's just there's no real highlights. Nothing stands out. It just feels like a bunch of people walking around for most of it. And that is legitimately the only wrestling I watched outside of George Hackenschmidt. As far as I can remember, I have nothing else written down.
Alright. I watched something called Lucha Libre.
In what month?
From the month of August?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so
tell us your Triple Mania thoughts.
Oh, we had a podcast about that. The Vampiro match is the greatest match of all time. I watched a couple shows. Full shows. From the start of the month, I watched the IWRG Lucha Libre Boom Copa de Leyendas e Hios. One was a pretty easy watch. There's a solid three-way tag that was pretty fun with Soul and X-Devil, Fandango and Noisy Boy, Scalar, and Vision Ario. Three-way tags are never, like, they're very hard to be, like, transcendently good, but that was fun. Better trios match was the one right after it, which was an Aguila Roja Flystar and Lunatic Fly match versus Lunatic Extreme, Superboy, and Toto match. But match of the show easily was the trios match with Carta Brava Jr., Demus, and Hio del Alebrije versus Hio de Canis Lupus, Hellboy, and Puma de Oro. Which, I mean, considering that's got Demus in it, it's got Alebrije in it, Puma de Oro, some of the best wrestlers on this show that I've mentioned. I've mentioned some pretty good wrestlers. It's the match of the three I've mentioned that has blood in it. It's just a really fun brawl that...
hold on. You're telling me that there's blood in a Demus match?
Yeah, I am.
And then it was good.
And it was good.
Okay, all right.
Fucking wild.
And fun, and had good brawling. I know. It's hard to believe.
No, wow.
That was the highlight of the show. But, you know, if you are looking for some wrestling to watch on YouTube, you should maybe give that match a try. The main event is Konik and Konik Jr., Juvi and Fuerza Guerrera, and LA Park and Io de LA Park.
I'll take a little father-son thing.
Yeah. Copa de Leyendas e Hios.
Yeah,
as the name of the show implies.
Oh. Yeah.
And I mean, it was fun. It wasn't great. It goes on.
I don't want to call
pretty long.
I don't want to call anyone out here, but Konik Jr. is maybe the most uncoordinated wrestler.
Yeah, he's not great.
Like
I would
he's got the body, he's got the mask. He has no idea.
I would take Wash 2V over Konik Jr.
Yeah.
I mean,
Konik Jr. looks like he has to stop and think about what he's doing body slam.
He's only been doing this 20 years. You got to give him time.
That's the crazy thing to me. Is like I watched him on some of the Santo retirement. How is this guy still that bad?
Yeah, it's not great. But it's fun enough. I mean, like, when LA Park is out there brawling, it's pretty fun, but there are better park matches. And then I watched from August 3rd, AAULL did a show that was pretty forgettable overall. Probably my favorite match of the entire show was the opener, which is Karma, Uno, and Magnetico versus Principe, Jaguar, and Superboy, which was just a fun, high spot opener tag. Nothing super special, but.
And this is Superboy, who's the brother of Lunatic Extreme, their other brother who we're forgetting.
Yeah. And then, there's a decent, trios match with, Latigo and Toxine and Emperador, Azteca, and Tonali in it, and that's fine. And the main event is a 3-way tag that's got the Park Boys and Traumas and Supernova and Tejano, and it's fine. But nothing from that show really worth going out of your way to see. But nothing offensively bad. Just of the two, I'm taking that IWRG Lucha Libre Boom show. Way more consistent top to bottom, way better high spots on the card. Yeah, I'm not gonna belabor it because it's nothing too out of your way. And
well, I started thinking someone in Discord, I think it was Tim on the Discord, talking about Wrestler of the Year and Peaks, and I said it was Deimos or Shinyaoki if we're just going on Peaks, and I just thought about it. They're both in DDT right now. It won't happen, but that's a match that conceivably they're in the locker room together.
They are.
I still miss Damos's when you could see other people's likes on Twitter. Because if you went to Damos's account, it was nothing but he would like anything Daisuke Sasuke tweeted, and he would like any picture of a big boob AI Asian woman that he could find. And I was just like, this guy's a fucking beast. I love it.
All right, seems like we covered all the wrestling we've been watching.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch this George Hackenschmidt match? Been going on?
Who is that fellow?
George Hackenschmidt? Well, he's this guy. I saw Patrick Reed on Twitter posted this link to a George Hackenschmidt, and I was like, I gotta check this shit out. Footage is 116 years old. Now, the problem was, I couldn't find any interviews with the film archive to give me context on it. Did you guys know where I could find such a thing?
Have you ever been to violentpeople.co?
No, I keep going to violentpeople.com.
Well, that's gonna slow you up.
What is violent? I'm gonna look up violentpeople.com.
But yeah, that came out this week, and that was really freaking cool. It feels like I first mentioned it forever ago, and then I just kept feeling like a liar. It's gonna come out, guys. It's gonna be here. It's gonna be here, and then it did. And
you were treating it like a lucha roundup.
And it's just long, complete, good quality footage. And it's just amazing that we're here. And yeah, I mean, it's not, I don't know, it's not wrestling like wrestling is today, but it's probably closer to almost collegiate wrestling. But there was this thought that Hackenschmidt was just really big and strong, where he's clearly really technically sound. And it's just cool that we're watching this at hundreds of years later. But yeah, if somehow you're listening to this and haven't watched it or looked at what I wrote, that's crazy, but please do it. And then Patrick Reed did actually write something cool about it, so check out him stuff. And then Jonathan Snowden found a lot of newspaper clippings.
The Snowden article.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And Snowden of the two did not shit talk me on any forums I know of recently. So if you have to choose one, go with the Snowden one.
Sorry.
What?
Snowden had this. According to Snowden, we're watching Hackenschmidt like dogging it. Like this is just him going out there and being like, "All right, I'm just gonna fucking put this guy down, and I've got other bookings to do today."
Yeah, I mean,
So that was
and I know that he's working on a book, Gotch Hackenschmidt book. I think he's working on like 5 books right now, so there's no telling when that'll come out. But he was able to put that together, the history of this match together, so quickly. It's like, that's impressive. So everyone should definitely read what he wrote.
Oh, Patrick gave you a little plug in his piece. That was nice.
He
That
did.
was nice.
He did. And he edited the post where he besmirched me and took it all out once he got called
Called
on
you a
it.
fucking liar and a fraud.
He did call me a liar and a fraud, basically, which I am, but not about
To
this.
be fair, not inaccurate.
Yeah.
In broadly speaking, in the macro, spot on. Wouldn't change a thing.
I've been noticing a lot of lies in the rotten.
But this actual, like, so much of what I wrote is just basically transcribing like emails or phone calls with the people that work at the film archive in New Zealand. So I was like, I don't know what I got wrong, man. He's like, oh, nothing, and then changed this post. But
Yeah, he got a lot of stuff wrong. What?
I didn't really write that much.
To download the file and put it on the site, though.
Oh,
That is
100%.
a very funny bit that you did.
Oh, I linked to it, but I wanted it on the site. Don't worry.
You did both.
Because originally, they were going to just send me the file, but then I think a couple of their nerds were asking about it. And so they're like, well, we'll put it on the site, and then you can take it if you want, is what I was told.
I can't believe you shouldn't have told anyone. You shouldn't have told anyone this was being worked on.
That's the thing, is I wasn't hiding it. So, like, I'd like this idea that some people think that I was, like, I don't know, trying to, like, I don't know, gatekeep the footage or something. It's like, I was talking to everyone about this. I'm like, hey, this is coming. Hey, I think this is actually going to come out. This isn't just going to be for, 50 people in Estonia. I think we all get to see this.
But Dan, if you're not gatekeeping, are you trying?
I mean,
What the fuck we doing?
I don't know if they have anything else in the archives. I'm not telling that fucking soul. I'm just gonna drop it on the website. It's very funny. I didn't think anyone was gonna care because I wrote that like the second thing I wrote for the site. I think maybe third was the piece about him in Australia and some of the new information I found about that. No one gave a shit. No one read that article. In fact, since this new stuff went up, I think the amount of people that have read it has like tripled or quadrupled the original, 5 months run of it being on the site. More than that, I guess, like probably 8 month run of it being on the site. So now people care once they can see him in a match. But so I didn't know how many people would actually care, and apparently a lot of fucking people care. We had a lot of visitors to the site this week.
So hopefully you all stuck around to listen to this, where we talk about JCW, JAPW, all the stuff that actually matters.
And somehow,
Yeah, it was fun. Like we have the VP 100 and even like the 2525. Like we get a decent influx of people coming to the site. Like wow, these are nice. Like I'm not big. Follow the numbers.
I'm just glad that now when I go to the site, it's not going to be like the top post it always showcases to me is like making the case for Mio Momino in 100.
It is funny that it does that. It shouldn't. It shouldn't be there at all.
Yeah, the post shouldn't be there at all. Actually, no, it's still there.
It is under
It's still
popular,
there.
and those two are not like they are like that is not the most popular. Going by the
far.
numbers, yeah.
Oh, we love Meal Mom.
We're cooking the books.
We can't fucking fix this website. It's broken. Let's just trash it. Let's throw in the bin. Start over.
Gaming website.
That's what it's all about. We are gonna speed run the Wrestling with the Words path. Which no one fucking knows what I'm talking about when I say that. Everyone's too young that listens to this podcast, or never really gave a shit about that.
We should speed run the 411 wrestling path. That's a
You want to die?
no. But
Okay.
we go from 411 wrestling to like 411 media to Inside Pulse to whatever fucking thing they did. And then eventually. But after we've made some.
Okay.
I like
Okay.
that. I like that part about making money.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can get Chris Hyatt out of death to come back for more mop ups.
Hey, folks.
See what
So
Eric S. Lee are doing.
we're severely in debt. So if you want to help us out, you can buy a mug today.
Yes.
Go to our link tree where you can find one. Go get one for a loved one or yourself, who also might be a loved one.
We made the poor financial decision to put all of the site's money to buying a little logo on the poster for the next 7 show. You gotta help us.
That'd be very funny.
It's 100. You can do that for the Pacific North Death for $150. I honestly thought about just like without telling you guys, just like
Only $150?
only $150, and it gets you 2 GA tickets.
Wow. Well, that's not gonna help me. I'll be honest with you.
At $500, they will like do an in-ring promo.
But yeah, buy mugs. We're poor. I was talking to someone in my real life about the footage, and I was like, man, like a ton of people have come to the site, like 10 times, our most popular numbers so far. I'm like, oh, do you make money off that? I went, absolutely not.
Yeah.
In fact,
Listen,
might end up costing us money.
If you don't buy mugs, we have to get into like the whole fucking Google AdSense thing. Turn it into like fucking Scott Keith's garbage fire of a site. You don't want that. You don't want, us having like some random 19-year-old posting 20 reviews of 1990 WWF.
25 wrestlers from the 90s you won't believe are dead. Actually, you'd believe all of them. They're wrestlers from the 90s.
Yeah, they're from the 90s. They all make
Hogan.
sense.
Number 1, Louis Spicolli.
Number 2, Owen Hart.
What?
Apparently, the better heart, according to some people on this podcast.
With
The better heart.
Don't bring it
Die
up.
too soon.
Love of God. I've been drinking. I'm feeling froggy.
Are you okay?
The wrong son died.
Wow. You just know
Could've been
that.
Bruce.
You just know that Stu said that to more than one son.
All of them, at least once. Oh man!
I feel like that's how he motivated like little league games and stuff like that.
Which, if you're going to be an abusive father, I'm not saying you should be, but if you're going to be, that's a really good line.
Yeah,
Like he's just looking at a picture of the Von Erich family and just looking at his own kids and being like, the wrong sons died.
Oh man.
I could have had a family like that.
The Canadian family.
Oh man, he probably did. Anyway, what are we doing? Anything else on the site?
I wrote something about wrestling and wrestlers, being involved in politics. And Pat, to answer your question,
Kane.
I'm nothing about Kane. It's like the stuff that's like real mostly makes me sad. So like, I wanted to.
It was
talk.
important to platform.
Is all this
Brian
fake?
Blair.
No, I just like I don't know. I don't live in Japan, so like Onita being involved in a brawl is funny to me. Booker T never actually running, just talking about it for years is funny. And then I get to the stuff that's like,
Do you remember
Jerry
the
Lawler's
one
a
that I
pedophile.
think was the one that I think was really lacking for being left out was Great Sasuke running for office wearing the mask.
Well, he won. He wore the mask and
Yeah,
whatever the diet.
and then
whatever
I
they call
think
it.
he got kicked out over a sex scandal, which
Sounds
awesome.
right. But yeah, the
I
whole
can't remember
thing.
if it was him or Anita who was misappropriating public funds to have threesomes with the secretary. Probably both.
But it was mostly just an excuse to use that cool picture of Zandig.
Yeah. That really appropriate for an election night special.
Yeah. But yeah, I can tell you, Pat, just checking out the numbers real fast, people from the Hackenschmidt did not stick around for that one. Didn't quite hit those numbers.
Yeah, I would say the Hackenschmidt people really didn't have a lot of boost for the everywhere else on the site.
People didn't really. They just read that and they're like, "I'm good," and they left.
And
have we considered
$30 on the podcast host, but we'll cross that bridge when we come.
It did what?
Have we considered that maybe Quentin and Tim drove those people away?
I'm always thinking about it.
That's very fair. That's very fair. We
may have Hackenschmidt. They listen to Q&R and they're like, I can't even do this.
Damn, we have a set number of downloads we get per month.
Oh, and this page got loaded enough.
Yeah, every time the homepage loads, it essentially tells us we have a download. It's fake. At one point, I think one of us tried to convince us that no, like those are people really clicking the fucking site. I feel as confident as I'll ever be. No, we do not have that many listeners.
Listen, either the numbers are fake or people really liked last week's episode. But they didn't like it until the third and fourth day it came out.
Yeah, exactly. It took a little bit to get rolling.
People started talking about it. They're like, "You guys have got to check this out." These guys, they talk about their Hall of Fame. They talk about John Cena a little bit and Gangrel.
That's all we really want.
I am one of the people that deluded myself into being like, these numbers seem fine and real. So this week really, it's like it was a good thing. Like I got the Hackenschmidt footage and we got lots of views, but it really destroyed this myth in my head.
I love that.
To be fair, a podcast that says we're gonna rank whether we like someone more or less than John Cena for an hour, and then spend another hour talking about Gangrel. Like, we already made my podcast.
Yeah, I was surprised you came back this week. I thought you kind of were probably out.
I've been out voting all day.
So you shred ballots and you vote a lot, all right?
Doesn't seem like it's working.
Well, or it's really working.
True.
You got to ask yourself.
What I've been doing is writing in Kamala for president, but Elon Musk.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I think that's the best of both.
For some reason, I almost included in the thing I wrote about Tor Johnson getting write-in votes, I almost included like evidence that he did, but I'm like, no one's calling me on this. It's fine.
Yeah.
Who cares?
But I have it, just in case anyone like tries to besmirch the site and say people aren't really voting for Tor Johnson. Happens all the time.
Taking too much credit for claiming that Tor Johnson had write-in. We're at the big top.
Oh shit, we're not even at the big top yet.
We're not even at the big top yet. Democracy crumbles as we speak. And we're not at the big top yet.
Yeah, if we all seem a little
crumbling, is that what we're calling the VP 2010s?
Yeah! Already getting ahead of it here. Some bad opinions make their way into the bunch. After John Cena made the Hall of Fame, you cannot be trusted. I would not have started the project if we did that. if we did, I would not have started it after the Hall of Fame stuff went live. Couldn't do it. Couldn't trust you people anymore.
Have you considered just like cooking the books, or like you're stuck on being honest about the results?
I gotta be honest about the results. Gotta be honest.
All right.
At Violent People, we count every.
Well, you can. I'm not counting. Shit.
I am going to do election fraud on the VP 2010 to get some of my favorite project cases under scene guys in to the list, and that's the big top.
Oh, it's the big top.
That's the big top. So Violent People 2010s is a project of voting the top 100 wrestlers of the 2010s based on their in-ring work. You can submit a ballot of 50 or 100. There is a Google form you would fill out to do so. And ballots are due on December 1st with the election going on. Let's talk voting on your favorite wrestlers, your best wrestlers of the decade. And yeah, ballots due, I said December 1st. Great, fantastic. And now we're going to make some cases for folks that you should vote for, you should consider, you should put on your list somewhere, somehow. Give it a little extra thought, give them a little extra juice, extra TLC over the course of the next few weeks. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Go for it.
I'm gonna name someone that I think is an obvious shoo-in to the three of you. But to the listener who has made it this far into the episode and hasn't thrown their earbuds in the trash, you should consider for their 2010s body of work Mr. Abdullah Kobayashi from Big Japan Pro Wrestling. By the 2010s, his body is breaking down, and he is actively, every match is him figuring out how to still put on an entertaining show while he is actively becoming more and more immortal. And he is so charismatic, he is so fearless, and he is so committed to the bit that he makes it work. Plus, he looks like a giant baby.
It's a tough argument. I have nothing to make against it, really. Considering he is on my list, I voted for him already.
Yeah, I was this guy, he's someone that I'm yeah, all of you guys are probably gonna at least include him in your long list. But that's more a PSA for the listener out there who's like, oh no, I'm just gonna watch a bunch of Noah. No, fucking watch the deathmatch shows that 14 people attended and that the Yakuza banged.
Yeah, consider watching Big Japan Pro Wrestling.
Watch more Kankuro Hoshino.
BJPW.
BJPW, that's what I was about to say. Thank you. Thank you.
I got you.
United Front.
Okay.
I don't know if Abby's making my list.
He's on my list of 136.
I think that's where I'm at. Top 125, I feel good. Top 100, not entirely sure.
No, are we letting Pat make all of his cases, or we all throwing out?
Rotate.
Okay, because I say, have I said that? As I said that, I'm looking at my guy who I'm pretty sure I'm going to put at 95 to 100. He's going to make this list. Colin Delaney. And here's my argument for Colin Delaney. No, but listen, here's my argument for Colin Delaney. 1. To Infinity and Beyond, possibly the tag team of the decade. That's not true. But is a solid tag team for most of the decade. And then Colin Delaney is on more shitty shows than almost anyone else on my list. And he is always, always one of the highlights. I say that as someone that went to most of these AIW shows that suck. But Colin Delaney's matches almost never suck. It doesn't matter if they're facing, Weird World, or if they're bringing in, I can't even, I don't have the list in front of me, but they faced some of the outsiders when they were the champions. They would bring in guys, or if they're facing the normal guys like Lewis Linden, or Crazy Pain when that was a tag team, or the Young Studs. They were always dependably great matches on shows that weren't great, and I think that probably holds more weight for me than it does for some people. I think that's fair. But he also has just wrestled a fuck ton of matches in that time, which I think is...
Even in 2024, To Infinity and Beyond, they still pop up on random GCW shows, and they're always solid. They never have the blow-away best match of the night, but they're reliable.
I've seen them live so many times. I'm sure that I've had to have seen a bad To Infinity and Beyond match, but I can't come up with it. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Would it be on them, or would it be on their dumb opponent?
And that's probably fair, too. So yeah, I doubt he's on anyone else's list, but he will be at the bottom of mine.
He's not a no for me.
I love
He's
it.
also, importantly, a 2CW
2CW guy. That's why I thought I had a chance with you.
2CW guy. Early on in the decade, him and Jimmy Jam Olsen as the Olsen twins. Great tag team run there. They were always a highlight of those shows, no matter who they were wrestling.
Yeah, most of that gets cut off, I think, but their 2010, 2011, I think they were still doing the Olsen twin stuff.
Yeah, 100%. They had a good match against the Briscoe brothers in 2CW in 2012. Kind of their last foray, and then they had a really good brawl, essentially the very next night in 2012. I can't remember if I'm trying to pull up the archive here. I can't remember his stuff with. Oh, he had match against Chris Hero in 2CW at a Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame show, which was sick. Had some good matches against AR Fox for 2CW. So, you know what? I love me some Colin Delaney, and if I can find a spot for him, I am not against it by any means.
Love hearing it.
So I'm gonna start off with one, just for maybe the tail end of your list. Probably a guy you guys are considering there as well. Consider Jimmy Rave. Consider the late Jimmy Rave. Obviously, probably more suited for the top end of a 2000 best list, but you think of some of the stuff he was doing in the 2010s, the match with Kyle Matthews, of course, the AJ Styles match. He was fun when he was showing up in Chikara every now and then. The occasional SCI or Ring of Honor appearance. Still just an awesome independent wrestler throughout the 2010s, even if he wasn't the top tier, best of the best worker he was in the 2000s.
And what if I just said no?
There you go. What are you gonna do about that?
Yeah, what now?
I'd probably be sad. Be sad about that.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, well, I'm not going to say no. Rest.
Also, guys, you should consider. I feel like a lot of our listeners are probably considering Takeda High as probably, if they have Japanese deathmatch guys on their list, it's probably Takeda and Kasai at the top of their list. But consider the rest of a Freedom's card. Consider your Violento Jack. Consider your Mammoth Sasaki. Consider your Sami Kadaka, your Yuko Miyamoto, your Toro Segura, your Tsukamotos, your Takayuki
Ueki.
Yeah.
He's not going to be high on my list, but he's going to be on my list because this counts as in-ring work when he pulls a gun on the rest of the match, forces them to get down on the ground and lay down so he can jump off the top rope. And then when he climbs to the top rope while still pointing the gun, he immediately falls off. He does that in half his matches, and it gets me every single time. So he's going to be in my 90 to 100. Like, he's locked in.
I just like to give you a glimpse of how stupid I am. When you said consider Takeda High, I went, I've never even fucking heard of that guy. That blew my mind for a full 4 seconds. But yeah, he's on my list.
Takeda is very high. So are a lot of the people. My list right now is kind of a shuffling around project of. Right now, I'm kind of working into deathmatch people and figuring out where they go and figuring out who gets booted off for them. And let's just say a lot of Dragon Gate guys are no longer being voted for.
Yeah, I would say throughout the course of my list making, the amount of Dragon Gate guys went from about 0 to 0. It was a tough process, but really enriching throughout the entire journey, and I'm glad I made it.
I do think I'm going to Stalker Cow. I think he's earned it. Possibly Yosuke Santa.
All right, Sam, what about you? You got some guys?
Oh boy, do I.
Ooh.
So, first up, probably the deeper of the cuts. Junior, I have called them out before. I will continue to call them out. They may be top 5, like, most technically impressive wrestlers of the decade. His matches with Virus are impeccable. And he always seemed to be good every year for a one trios or Atomicos match that absolutely melted my brain. He just has that it factor. He is a great glue guy, as well as being kind of insanely gifted on like an individual basis. Kind of as always can help put together a trios match that has other good workers and really elevate it to that next level. So he's someone that I say go watch him if you haven't. It might be a little too late to kind of understand why he's such a good candidate, because CML candidates are kind of a little bit more difficult unless you're someone that gets a lot of singles opportunities every single year to.
I was gonna say he probably has
idiots.
Tons of matches, but like less than 30 singles matches in that decade. I don't know if that's crazy, but I can't think of a lot of great single matches from him. Not that he had bad singles, just single matches in general.
Yeah, the two Veers matches from 11 and 13 are great. Some of the best of the decade. Absolutely should be going to watch those. He has a match with Delta and Atlantis versus Cavanaro and Hechicero and Mephisto from November of 2014, which is great. He has a match with Delta and Dragon Lee versus Cavanaro, Kawatachi, and Negro Casas from March of 15, which is really good. And my last kind of recommendations for trios matches with Ray Kameda, another dude that should be in consideration for everyone. Just to get the CMLL folks are like all hard to recommend at this point in the process. That's not me. I should have been more on top of saying, hey, check out all the CML guys, because you need to watch all the trio stuff to get a better sense of who they are. CMLL folks are not folks that spoon feed you their cases, where you can be like, oh yeah, watch a couple of their title matches or whatnot. For a lot of them, there's just not something that exists. Ray Kameda, just, man, he's so good. One of the better flyers of the decade. So, him, my Junior Blue Panther versus Hechicero, Cranio, and Ripper. Real great match from April of 2016.
So, does Ray make your list as well?
Yes, definitely. But he's a little harder to. He is even potentially harder to piece together the case for than Maya Jr., where I feel like the Virus matches are so transcendently great.
He's got the big mask match from 2012, but then outside of that, I don't know a Rey Komita match off the top of my head. Singles match.
Yeah, he has a couple of Kavanari matches. One from September 14 and one from January 15. Both are exceptional. So those might be good directions to go into as well. So there you go. Dan, what do you got?
Now, my case for Colin Delaney was that he wrestles a lot, and that's important. And so my next guy I want to mention is Josh Barnett.
Who also wrestles a shit ton.
Now, my thing there is the exact opposite case, is that I think in the decade he has maybe 20 matches total. That seems generous. I can actually pull it up right here. He has 8, 10, 18 matches. But the thing is, they all fucking rule. He's got his run in IGF. He's got a 2-match stint in TNA Impact, and the very first 2 Bloodsport shows, which is the, kind of ignore the Suzuki match, but you have the Chris Dickinson match, which I like. And then, I just was randomly watching IGF a few weeks ago, and his match with Bob Sapp rules. His match with Tim Sylvia is hilarious. He has 2 matches with Bobby Lashley, the IGF one, and the TNA one years later, and they're just really cool. And I think there's something to just getting in and getting out. But I'm not going to have, 40 shitty matches this year. I'm just going to come in, have one good match, go away for 10 months. And that's almost my case for also, I know this is not surprising from me, but Sam made fun of the case, and I want to tell you he's wrong. Low-key should be high on list. All the Loki stuff rolls. And there's not as much as there was.
Great.
He's in and out of the decade. Otherwise. What do you say?
What?
What'd you say? I missed it.
I'm befuddled by anyone that says otherwise.
Well, you mocked my case at one point, I thought.
No.
Okay. I thought you said he had a handful of matches throughout the decade. And I was going through it. Okay, maybe I made that up then. So that's the only reason I was going to bring him up, because I was going through it and I was like, he has a ton of great matches, and he's going to be probably my top 20.
And this was the decade he started the Hitman costume.
Yeah, this is the decade where he started fucking around a little bit. But he's so good that him fucking around is still top 20 for the decade. Because his highs are so high.
Jokester, low key.
He's just a hilarious guy.
Guy famous for his sense of humor.
He wrestled for ECWA, and they just that matches you just can't watch it, and I think that's funny. It's 2024. They only put out from that show. They only put out Darius Carter versus Chris Daniels. I don't know who's checking that out.
I am.
I'm sorry for you then.
So my other, this is someone who I think again is probably at the very least on the radar of everyone on this podcast. But again, I pointed at I say him as a public servant, someone who was gone for most of the decade, and when he came back, had aura like no one else, short of maybe Brock Lesnar and maybe Shibata, but Nick fucking Gage. He had a great 10.
Yeah, his first return, you got the taste. And it was just shit, yeah, and reminder that Nick Gage is fucking awesome. And then he was fuck Chris Hero, fuck Eddie Kingston, fuck Zack Sabre Jr. Nick Gage was the fucking ace of the indies for a while.
Yeah. And you could see just coming out, the crowds wake up. It was never okay, we'll sit through the Nick Gage match now. People didn't sit quietly to watch Nick Gage.
Yeah, seeing Nick Gage multiple times during that late 2010 run live, it even in like a small ass deathmatch venue and then a bigger deathmatch venue for NGI, like there's nothing like it that I've experienced on any other indie show for any other run.
And he has a murderer's row of opponents. I'm just scrolling through it,
I mean, just the like trilogy with Tremont.
Yeah. But he also, he faced Walter on a style battle show. He faced L.A. Park for AIW, Brody King, Jack Evans, Darby Allin. There were so many people that, like, you're like, oh my god, they put on a Nick Gage versus Sabu match, 2018. Like, he fought everyone. It was like everyone wanted a piece of Nick Gage. That's how strong comeback.
Just to reiterate what Chris said, like, in 2015 he faced Eric Ryan, and that's not a match that, like, you should go out of your way to seek out. It's just, that was the first match I saw him live since he came back. I mean, that had to be one of the first handful of matches he had, and people in the crowd were running, people were screaming, there was an energy that, like, you just don't get at an AIW show in Mount Carmel for anything else.
I can't remember if this is the first time I saw him, but him versus Otani at one of the Joey Janela Spring Break show, I guarantee you that's the craziest a crowd had ever been. Otani match, minimum 50.
Yeah, that's a fun ass match too.
It was so funny because it was positioned as like Nick Gage versus his favorite wrestler ever, and I never would have guessed.
I can see it though. He's a student.
I mean, yeah. Once
you hear it, yeah,
for it, you can see it. Yeah, I mean, like him versus Homicide, him versus Riddle, him versus Teddy Hart. Tournament of Survival 2 is run there. It's just all sick. Definitely go and watch that rather than watching fucking Omega versus Okada.
I mean, those are great matches.
Yeah, but imagine if Nick Gage had...
Omega versus Nick Gage.
Omega versus Nick Gage, fucking awesome.
It'd be such a sick match.
Especially 2010's Omega, where he was still kind of like, he wasn't buying into his own hype of like Mr. 7 Stars.
Yeah. God, that'd be fucking sick. Consider. I have to name drop. I already mentioned Freedom's Undertag guys, but you have to consider Gentaro at all times in all places. The greatest technical wrestler of the last 15 years, as like a guy who is always pulling off crazy shit in undercard tag matches, always has a counter for everything. Midway through the decade, he had a fucking stroke and came back, and he was still just an absolute monster on the mat, and just one of the great geniuses in the ring. Consistency, always a joy in Freedoms, or if he, on the rare occasion, he's in DDT or working another sleaze indie. Just always loved Gentaro. Speaking of sleaze indies, Keita Yano, and if you need the thing about Keita Yano is you should just search his name and do the research yourself. Because I feel like he's a case where everyone could possibly just come away with him and have completely different favorite matches because he's such a weird little freak who does weird little freak shit. But it's always awesome and unique, and he doesn't even look like the same person match to match half the time. But if there is a match you need to convince you that Keita Yano is one of the best wrestlers of the 2010s, the obvious answer probably, as far as I would say, the guys on this podcast who are familiar with Keita Yano would say, Keita Yano versus 326 from Wallaby Pro in 2014 is one of the weirdest, most beautiful things wrestling has ever produced. If you have never seen it, it's glorious, it's sleazy, it's just on a mat, no actual ring with ropes in front of a couple dozen people. It is like if like fucking Gato Move didn't have the illusion of wholesomeness, and it was just sleaze. That's Keita Yano and 326 in this fucking whatever the fuck it is. Just, I love Keita Yano. I would die for Keita Yano.
Maybe you will.
Anyone else?
Going back to...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Sam. You go first.
So I'll say, like, generally, CMLL, mid-carders, like, Kamita, like, Stuco Jr., like, and, like, Charo versus Titan, Fuego, and Maximo. All folks you could consider. Just gonna give it up for the troupe of folks from the UK who worked the camp shows. Primarily Dean Allmark, one of the great, I was gonna say one of the great UK wrestlers ever, frankly. But him, James Mason, Robbie Dynamite, and Rampage Brown, especially the first three, Dean Allmark, James Mason, and Robbie Dynamite, really worked the loop for years and provided a ton of fun, light, just picture perfect at what they were going for matches for years. Lots of stuff can be found on Dean Allmark's YouTube channel. If you are, it is not all that dissimilar to the typical US indie wrestling, broadly speaking, with some more of, I wouldn't even say more UK grappling flair. It feels more akin to like territory tag work a lot of the times, in the sense of like it's pretty crowd heavy as far as involvement. But just so much. All of those matches are so much fun to watch. They are not super violent, unfortunately, but they just have a real heart to them that I can really get behind. The one thing holding that back is like, hey, I cannot point to a single Dean Allmark versus James Mason or Robbie Dynamite match that singularly will blow the mind. He just has a lot of good, very good work. Dan, you were going to say something.
Yeah, just a couple more guys that I'm seeing in my list going up and down. It might not be on everyone's. Another guy who doesn't wrestle a lot. Apparently wrestling's bad is what I'm now learning from my list. Jerry Lawler. You got the Miz stuff from the very beginning of the decade, and then you have the stuff he did in NEW, like against Steen and Tommy Dreamer, and just another guy who just he's only going to lace the boots up a couple times a year, but you want to watch every single one of them. And I mean, outside of that, guys who might not be on the list, Steve Corino, another guy who doesn't have a huge resume, but all the stuff is great. But yeah, Drew Gulak, bad person, good wrestler. David Starr, same thing. I'm saying.
You didn't mention that for Lawler.
Oh, earlier I called him a pedophile. I felt like that covered it. I think if you're a pedophile, you're a bad person.
Okay,
I'm gonna make that stand here and now.
Thank you. You're so brave.
No, I just, I'm waiting till.
We need to clip that. We need to clip that out as like the YouTube teaser for the episode.
I like to wait to the second half of the show before I make my hot takes, but that's how I feel, and I'm staying by it.
Oh, I've got another dad who I think people should keep on their radar. A user of synthetic marijuana, Matt Seidel.
Oh, he's on my list.
Oh shit! I didn't vote. I don't know if I would have had room for him, but
he's one of those guys where I think he's so consistently good that people overlook him.
Yeah, he wasn't even really on my radar, and I probably would have cut him, but I do love Matt Seidel.
That's a Dragon Gate guy.
Yeah, but
You guys love your Dragon Gate.
I was saying.
I'm always saying that.
I choose to think of him more as the sixth man in the PWG match. The Young Bucks and Adam Cole versus Ricochet, Will Ospreay, and Matt Seidel. Arguably, the match that destroyed pro wrestling, that was the one where everyone looked at Dave Meltzer at ringside and started chanting 5 stars.
Bold.
I think that's like the Trump coming down the escalator pro wrestling.
I feel like half of my life, the last 5 years, have been like, no, Dave Meltzer's actually important to the history of wrestling. He's an archivist and a historian, and then he put one line and clearly did about the Hackenschmidt match, and clearly didn't even watch it. So fuck that guy. Jim Cornette's right about everything.
Yeah.
My thing is what Sam was saying about my list. I'm going through here, and it's just I don't even know how to recommend them all, but there's a lot of lucha guys that should make everyone's list. Because even outside of CMLL, you have the obvious guys like your Damus, your Black Terrys, and then you have your Nengo Navarros and your Solars and the Traumas and
Wotan, Fishman.
Oh, Ricky Marvin. He's top half of the list.
The second half of the
Negro
2010s,
Casas.
AAA was on a fairly good run when they started getting the Twitch money. First they had the year where Vampiro was booked insane. And then they kind of spun it around and they're like, okay, we're going to give you a variety of things. Conan was back then. And they always kind of had that hot first match. And they did a lot of wacky main event brawls. Wagner Jr. and Blue Demon Jr., they're both on my list. Blue Demon Jr. might honestly be on my list on Triple.
Flamita. He's gonna.
Flamita who? What the fuck are you talking about, Dan? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Flamita, he's the tag partner of Bandito in Mexiblood.
Yeah, he's on my list. I don't know if he's gonna make it.
He's on your list.
He's one. He's one of the last guys that he kind of captured the feeling of holy shit, look what this guy can do. Now I'm not saying go watch demonic Flamita. I'm not watching 2024 Dragon Gate.
Don't get me wrong. I like Flamita.
I'm not saying he's going to be in the bottom half if he makes it, but he's on the maybe.
As far as flippy lucha guys,
yes.
I didn't have Arez on my list.
Dan, you got R Star on there?
he is on. He's on the list.
Aerostar, also not on my list.
He's on my list.
Yeah, but
Aerostar's
Flamita.
Yeah, I would maybe take.
I'm trying to remember which show it was where Aerostar jumped off of the lighting rig and got caught, but got sort of caught by I think it was Monster Clown in such a bungled spot that it's like it turned into a DVD that looked like Aerostar was instantly killed.
Do you have Laredo Kid on your list, Dan?
I do.
Okay. Because I was gonna say I'm taking Laredo. Like I don't have Laredo Kid on my list. I'm taking Laredo Kid over.
Hey, do you even like Lucha there, Chris?
Yeah, I like Dr. Cerebro and Flystar and Toxine.
What about
Miedo Extremo?
Dragon Lee?
Did
You
not
guys
vote for
feeling about
Dragon Lee.
Did not vote for Dragon. Dragon Lee is funny because he was like for a moment it was like he was the it guy. Like
I have his brother. His brother is really high.
Everyone's realistic. Yeah.
We got to stop talking about Jalistico so much. It's like every episode.
I mean, Destiny Del Ring, top half.
Yeah, Dragon Lee will definitely make my list.
Yeah, say Dragon Lee is on my list as well.
I feel like the 2010s list is the only list I would put Dragon Lee. Because if you were to go by his career since then, it's like uninspiring, cash and check. But in the 2010s, he had that moment of opportunity where he's like, I have to be the biggest fish in the small indie pond. And he just... And then I also think there's something to be said. He and Kamitachi did those super high speed, super borderline reckless matches where they're like giving each other Phoenix Plex, stuff like that. And so many people saw those and like went, I should do that too. That if you're watching them now, they feel a bit less special, but if you were watching them in 2015, it was like, what the fuck am I?
But yeah, maybe I don't know.
It was like in 1998 when WWF let women. It's like I've never seen anything like it.
But I remember watching the match I mentioned. It's like El Hijo de Fantasma, Phoenix and Pentagon versus El Hijo de Fishman, Flamita and Skyman. And that match like blowing my fucking mind. And like of the three guys that stand out, it's Phoenix, Pentagon, Flamita, and like Flamita like let me down the least if that's possible. But that's also because he's less visible. Or I had to watch like the Lucha Brothers become kind of a joke, and I didn't see Flamita do that as much, so that's why he's at the bottom of my list. But I mean, he's not a lock. I'm not gonna be like you start mentioning guys like Dragon League will make it, you know, Hechicero will make it.
You gotta make
Soberano Jr. He's on here. Cavanario, obviously. There's a lot of
Rouge.
Hey, turns out there's more than 100 good wrestlers from the 2010s. Who would have called it?
That's insane to think about.
Yeah.
I think there were exactly.
It reminds me, this is like smaller than it is, but like when people get mad about someone being left off like GWE, it's like, there's been a lot of fucking wrestlers. Not everyone can make it.
What strikes me as insane is when there are the people who like think that they can somehow watch wrestling to objectively call it.
Oh, we got a lot of like pansies being like, oh, I can't watch enough, I can't vote. Just go by vibes.
That's literally what I did.
What I think people are missing is there's no objectivity to it. Your ballot is literally your perspective. It's not a mathematical equation. You are contributing your perspective to the big prism that is all of our perspectives, and we're going to see who's smartest and best.
Yeah, I'm doing voter fraud anyway. I throw out the ones that are too bad.
Man, so there's going to be like 3 ballots.
Yeah, so how many are good?
I mean, I'm keeping Souls in. His taste lines up pretty well with mine.
I think if someone put high 69,
I like Henry, so I'm just keeping
69,
his in.
They should. Any bout, the cheat code is if you put high 69 from Noah at number 69, you're good.
That's a good bit.
Tim's is definitely being deleted.
Tim also, I mean, I know he already had a list, but he voted too soon. Made me uncomfortable.
Didn't he vote like the day after?
I think
he put it up?
I think he put it up, he voted like 4 minutes after it went up. He was like,
Yeah.
somehow he knew
As soon
about
as
it.
it went up, he was there. He was not working through a process.
We
He's
should-
like,
we should-
I did this already.
You think
We
I could
should just
do
read his ballot.
You think I could do a list where I'm like, number 1 called Manders, number 2 called Scorpio. I'm already lost at number
No,
3.
also, no, I don't.
What's
think
number
he pulled it
3?
off.
Well, I've got lost at number 3. I'm not gonna lie to you. Maybe like
3-minute warning. It's a tie.
it's pretty good. I put 3 in a cage match. I'm not recognizing any of these guys, but I'm gonna vote for 3D because he's Mexican.
That seems problematic.
And then
I think it's
My
more
last-
problematic if I don't vote for him because he's Mexican than if I vote for him because he's Mexican.
My last guy to consider real quick, AR Fox. Maybe the most
Yes.
consistent American indie guy of the 2010s. And, like, incredible high flyer, high spot guy. The stuff in Evolve, Beyond, CZW, Lucha Underground, wherever he was just a fucking star. But I mean, especially like the Hell of War match in Lucha Underground. But I mean, various matches with Shane Strickland. Some fun stuff with Sammy Callahan. Fucking Keith Lee. Will Ospreay.
I think it's safe to say that if you're voting for like Mike Bailey or Adam Cole or Trevor Lee, if you're voting for Trevor Lee and you're not voting for AR Fox, you objectively have no fucking.
I think it's insane to include Adam Cole in that wrestlers.
I was just trying to think of like PW main event.
Those are all. Well, everyone but Adam Cole is a good to very good to great wrestler.
Okay, pretend I
So-
said Mandrews instead of Adam Cole.
Perfect. Don't vote for the UK indie guys
If
that
you-
were working.
If you
What
Ring
was
Rust
it called? Progress?
answer,
Is that promotion?
yeah, Progress, Rev Pro. If you liked British wrestling in the 2010s, you contributed to the irreparable damage.
Well, slow down now. Slow down now. You gotta watch All Star Wrestling. It's the only way to stay right.
All right,
Sorry.
the Knight family are the only people I don't consider problem.
There you go. I think that works. Don't know for certain. We'll say yes.
Paige is absolutely in my top.
That's not true. That's not true.
It can be.
You
I
might
haven't sent my ballot.
you
in.
might need to throw this ballot out, Chris. Keep an eye on this one.
Alright.
All right, it's number 1, Joey Ryan. Number 2, Michael Elgin. 3, Drake Younger, for his referee work, not for his wrestling. Number 4, 2 Cold Scorpio. Number 5, 1 Called Manders. Number 6, 911.
I think Mike Elgin lost posting rights to the shindy he helps run out of Michigan
Awesome.
because there was they had a show and he just went on like 4 diatribes about how WWE should pay him and everyone at the company is great and they should all be getting paid except some guys who are not workers but they don't know how to work and they complain, they show up late, and it just was like, but like typos and unhinged and crazy, and like they all got deleted and then he apologized and now it's clearly a much different person posting from that account.
One of my favorite moments in 2010's wrestling fandom, the crazy drama surrounding Michael Elgin covering up one of his, I don't know if he was a student or just someone wrestling shindy, being a rapist, and Dave Meltzer just wandering into the conversation, dropping an unsourced Tumblr full of DM screenshots and being like, "Case closed, boys." It was like, this is the greatest NFL reporter in action.
What could have been? What could have Bet.
I mean,
Any
if this is
other-
how he if this is
Yep.
how he handles sexual misconduct stories in wrestling, imagine how he would handle the ones.
Even better. There's obviously a lot more stakes there, and they really care about this issue.
Imagine
that
Dave
occurs
Meltzer
regularly. I can't even fathom. Can't even.
That was also my question for the wacky.
Oh man, is it time for that?
I think it might be.
Yeah, we don't have a ton this week.
We have a good one though, right? There was one I liked. I can't. By the way.
Yeah, the one you liked was Imagine Dave Meltzer covering Ray Rice.
What? Well, that was one that was in your head, so it's weird that I knew about that one.
I've been workshopping.
So, from Ollie, we have, would Donald Trump wall be taller or smaller than the cage in the Aki N64 video games? Smaller.
See, I didn't have an N64, so I got to look this up. You guys talk.
Same.
I had an
I'm
N64,
not gonna be much help.
and I don't know what it's talking about, and I'm gonna ignore it.
You're
Oh,
not
that's
gonna
a
care.
tall.
I've been hitting Control R on this
He's
map.
not fucking around with this.
A lot.
This cage is easily cell height. So the cage is twice
Smaller.
the height of
Yes.
the turnbuckle. So yes, I think Trump's wall would be shorter than an Aki N64 cage.
Alright.
Great stuff.
From Cole. One policy you would executive order if you were the president of wrestling.
Hepatitis for everyone.
Well, that's good.
Forearm
They can
exchanges.
choose which hepatitis.
Forearm exchanges are now punishable by death.
I think any match over 20 minutes needs to be approved by me beforehand.
That's a very good. Very.
Like, you need to make your case for why you need 22 minutes and you can't do it in 19.
I don't think I have a good one for this. I think all wrestlers should be very open to taking unprotected chair shots and just like suck it up, generally speaking.
Just don't use chairs if you're anti-concussions.
Actually, you know what my serious one would be? There would be a national subsidy so that indies could actually buy fucking tables. Shitty fucking dork. If there's one lasting side of me watching 400 GCW shows this year, it's that I never want to see another fucking door laid across two chairs. It looks like shit. They spend so much time setting it up. It's never set up right. Half the time, it's like the door's just sliding off the chairs the second someone touches it. Get fucking table. I don't care if they cost. You hear me, Brett?
He's got Hawaii money, but not table money.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Get him. Well, you don't go to Hawaii by spending money on table, you know? That's how, millionaires don't become billionaires
one of the
by
reasons
getting
that-
starved up.
One of the reasons that the Tara Zepp Sonico match at the John Wayne Murdoch show was so sick was that they had a real table in the ring and repeatedly failed to break. They were just kind of hitting it at weird angles, so they kept knocking it over and like damaging their own spinal columns, and it looked awesome.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Do we have any other questions?
You got one on Twitter that I enjoyed here.
Didn't look at it.
No, you responded to it. You called it great question.
Oh, that question.
Okay.
Sorry. I gotta find it.
I got it here.
Good.
It's basically, we're going to reverse it like you said. They asked, No More Mutants on Twitter asked, trying to decide how many of the voodoo murderers, yes, are better than Ricochet. I think that's going to take too long. It should be which of the voodoo murderers are not better than Ricochet.
Ooh.
I would take Ricochet over
Psycho Brothers.
Saito Brothers, Rene Dupree.
No.
No.
You take
no Dupree on that one.
Oh, okay. We got some Dupree fans here.
Have you seen the Rene Dupree Noah stuff? I'm taking Dupree.
Oh man, I love that. I'm not mad about that at all. What about Chuck Palumbo? I would take Chuck over Ricochet. I don't know if I would take Johnny Stamboli.
Yeah, I'm probably taking Ricochet over Johnny Stamboli, and I will give Ricochet Chuck Palumbo.
I like didn't Chuck Palumbo had a feud with Jamie Noble? Did I make that up? I feel like there's some Chuck Palumbo matches. What was Johnny Stamboli's TNA bullshit?
Relic.
Relic. But more importantly, I feel like
he was Red Rum, and Dustin was Relic. What the hell? Oh no, he was he was Relic. What was Dustin's? What was Gold?
Oh, I have to be on my hater bullshit. I have to go Ricochet over Kojima.
Nice.
I guess Red Rum's something he did on the Indies. Could he not get? He couldn't use Relic.
God only knows. Either that, or he was Red Rum. He went to TNA with it, and they were like, "No, we got a
better one here." Yeah, who knows?
So here's a question coming to us from Twitter, posted by @RealJakeHager at 11:03 p.m. on November 5th, 2024, and it says, "Do you want proof that Tony Khan is a communist and threatened me to be silent or else?"
Yes, I do.
I do want that proof very much. Yeah, thank you for asking.
All right, easy question. But I had to go and check and make sure that it's not like someone with like REA capital I Jake Hager. No, this is the real Jake Hager Twitter.
This is the real Jake Hager.
This is the man who was in the JT Lightning Invitational.
Yes, I am support Trump. Yes, I'm against killing babies. I guess that makes me a racist. This is just a solid follow here.
I mean, we need this guy cutting promos on Circle 6. Whatever they're called. 7. We need Jake Hager enslaved to... Or, better yet, the Hager Necro Butcher tag.
Jake Hager. All right.
You guys have Jack Swagger in your VP?
Oh yeah.
We the people.
Everyone should.
I think after tonight, you're going to be mandated to.
I can't. I cannot.
Is that all our wacky lines?
Lines?
I think we did it.
I think we did it. We really cracked through, captured the zeitgeist of this evening.
We got long pauses where I just keep going Control R, Control R, Control R.
That's everyone.
Jesus. All right, do we have any final plugs before we wrap this bad boy up?
No, I already plugged other people's work
Perfect.
that's not on our website, so.
Amazing.
We got anything coming to the website this week?
Guys...
Who the fuck knows?
All right.
Probably do another Ken Shamrock post.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Chris, you review it yet?
I can do that.
So that's a no.
There we go. So that's a no. See you next week.